When one person sees a supernatural event, their story can be dismissed as lies or ravings delivered by a mad person. But what happens when something strange is actually seen by a large number of people? Well, then it becomes much more difficult to dismiss. Here are 10 supernatural events witnessed by masses. Number 10 is the miracle of the sun. On October 13, 1917, tens of thousands of people from the city of Fatima, Portugal, witnessed a phenomenon later referred to as the miracle of the sun. Residents and visitors gathered at the field of Cova da Iria, expecting to see the apparition of the Virgin Mary. The event had been prophesied by 3 children who were visited by Mary herself on 6 separate occasions. Around noon of the 13th, the massive crowd watched as the sun began moving and changing colors. The sun's brightness was dulled significantly and shone rays of multicolored light. Some witnesses claimed to see it dance around in zigzag patterns throughout the sky. In 1937, after a lengthy investigation, the Roman Catholic Church canonized it as an actual biblical miracle. Number 9 are the Phoenix Lights. Nevada and Arizona are no strangers to eerie and unexplainable sightings, but on the night of March 13, 1997, something undeniably supernatural was seen by thousands of residents. Between the hours of 7:30 p.m. and 11:30 p.m., a series of lights in a V-like formation appeared in the sky over Nevada. According to witnesses, the lights traveled around 480 kilometers to Phoenix, and then continued to just outside Tucson. Descriptions of the lights vary slightly from witness to witness, but the few who saw them from a closer vantage point say that the lights were part of a solid V-shaped object that flew low and made no sound at all. Possible explanations for the lights range from military fighter jet flares, lights attached to a floating helium balloon, secretive government technology testing, or even aliens making a close flyby. Number 8 is the Jatinga bird suicide. Every year, between September and November, locals in the village of Jatinga, India, experience an event that sends much of their aviation wildlife plummeting towards the ground. On dark and foggy autumn nights between 6 p.m. and 9:30 p.m., usually when the moon is covered by clouds, birds of various species will dive towards the small town of 2,500 people. The birds become extremely disoriented and choose to fly towards any source of light they can find. In many instances, the birds will actually make contact with the light, a wall, or the ground, and die upon impact. But more commonly, the villagers, who believe the birds to be demons or agitated spirits, will fight back and kill the birds with bamboo sticks or traps. By the end of the night, the ground will be littered with hundreds, if not thousands, of bird carcasses. Number 7 is the Jodhpur boom. The Jodhpur boom refers to an extremely loud sound that alarmed the residents of the city of Jodhpur, India on December 18, 2012. It happened at exactly 11:25 a.m. It was described as having emanated from the sky above the city and had the qualities of a sonic boom, like from a speeding jet plane breaking the sound barrier. Even stranger is the fact that the sound was so loud it was nearly deafening to anyone unlucky enough to be outside and near its origin. It caused mass hysteria among the population due to the popular Mayan calendar theory that the apocalypse would occur that year. Possible explanations involving aircraft or explosions were ruled out by city officials, leaving investigators nearly clueless as to how such a sound could suddenly explode from thin air. Number 6 is the Dancing Plague. In July of 1518, a woman named Frau Trophia started dancing in the street of Strasbourg, France, alone without music. At first, the locals cheered her on, but their attitudes turned more serious when she continued non-stop for 6 entire days. Over the course of a week, Trophia had been joined in her dance by 34 others, all of whom refused to stop. After a month, there were 400 manic dancing citizens crowding the streets. Dancers began to perish from the extreme physical exertion, collapsing from exhaustion, stroke, and heart attacks. The city tried to help them dance the disease out of their system by building a stage and encouraging bands to play music. But the dancing continued long after the bands left. The cause of the event and how it spread still remains a mystery to this day. Number 5 is New England's Dark Day. May 19, 1780 was a strange day for people in New England and eastern Canada. The sun rose at dawn as it always did, and continued to rise until around 10 a.m. when it turned red and became obscured by darkness. The sky turned a yellow hue, and by 12:45, everything was so dark that candles were needed to see. The darkness became slightly less intense soon after, but the extremely dim lighting conditions continued until nighttime the next day. Many people took the darkness as a sign of the end of the world, and the sight of a deeply red sun and moon rising in the sky did not help to convince them otherwise. The cause of the darkness is still unknown, as theories such as solar eclipses or thick cloud cover were ruled out. Exactly what brought the eerie darkness, and why? Number 4 is the Nuremburg celestial phenomenon. A Nuremberg, Germany broadsheet newspaper article from the year 1561 describes the scene of an epic space battle which occurred above the city between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. on April 14th of that year. According to witnesses, several dark orbs shooting across the sky at each other, blood-red striped shapes started thick and became thin at the end, and blood-red crosses could be seen. 2 large rod shapes were seen at either end of the battlefield panorama, both of which flew towards the sun at one point. The orbs flying around in the sky eventually came to rest and fell to the earth in great clouds of smoke. After this alleged battle had ceased, a large black spear apparition was sighted, pointing west. It's believed the event was a warning from God. No evidence of the crashed orbs has ever been recovered. Number 3 is the Holland well incident. On July 13, 1980, an estimated 500 children from different marching bands around the East Midlands in England gathered at the Holland Well Showground in Kirkby and Ashfield for a charity competition show. Many of the kids had come from quite far to reach the event grounds for the 9 a.m. start time, and they were feeling travel weary and nervous with performance anxiety. Their symptoms were to be expected under the circumstances, and normally they would have have pulled through, but an hour and a half into their performances, something unexpected happened. The children started dropping like flies, fainting mid-performance, while others became terribly ill with nausea, vomiting, soreness, headaches, and dizziness. A total of 300 people, including some adults and babies, were affected by the mysterious illness. Number 2 is the Cosford incident. A strange set of triangular-shaped light patterns appeared over the skies of Somerset, England on March 30th, 1993, and surprised the hundreds of locals that witnessed them. The lights were seen by several people who stated that they flew very low to the ground and were part of a UFO that was around 200 meters in diameter. The object also flew over 2 Air Force bases, the RAF Cosford and then the RAF Shawbury, and were seen by multiple personnel who described it in an official report as having traveled at a high velocity. But the strangest report came from the meteorological officer stationed at the RAF Shawbury, who claimed he saw a narrow light beam sweep across a field as if it were looking around for something. He also claimed that the UFO made a low humming sound that gave off bass-like vibrations as it flew. And number 1 is the Tunguska Event. On June 30th, 1908, at 7:17 a.m., a massive explosion occurred by the stony Tunguska River located in Russia. The event was witnessed by people at a trading post 64 kilometers away. It was described as a beam of blue light in the sky, followed 10 minutes later by a massive boom, and then a shockwave that sent people and debris flying. It flattened a forested area of 2,000 square kilometers, which is the equivalent of blowing up 15 to 30 megatons of dynamite. The explosion has been studied by many, and the prevailing theory points towards a very large meteor. That would make it one of the largest impacts in Earth's recorded history. But possibly the strangest part of this story is that upon investigating the site, there was absolutely no crater to be found at ground zero.